What should we call this one?
Well, I thought Huna is Buna, but there's just so much more. I don't know. Oh my God.
I know.
What should we call this? Like,
I like Huna is Buna
Huna
because I just
Buna.
fucking hate Huna.
I know. I'm like, it doesn't make any sense at all. And for some, like, is he white? He's white. I'm sure
Obviously.
he's white. I know. It was a silly question. It felt right when it came out of my mouth. But I'm like, what kind of white man goes and is like trying to create some sort of...
A white guy saying the word I sought out, or saying I sought out a wise kahuna feels like immediately...
Alert! Bullshit! It sounds like a bullshit.
So normally I think I would be like, hey, how are you? But now since we are running short on time, we just talked for so long. And
I've been here for an hour. I feel like
we were like, been here for an hour.
Yeah.
We were like, we're going to knock out 2 before.
And then we were like, wait a minute.
Now we don't know if we'll finish this one.
It's fine. We'll be fine.
It's okay. It's okay. We're fine.
It's okay. We'll be fine. It was a very cathartic mental health moment, and I feel loads better. So,
yeah.
I'm Jess.
Oh my God. I wasn't even going to do it. I'm Jenna.
And you are listening to
Morgan. You're always in our hearts.
I know. She just keeps us on the straight and narrow, that one. I love that she listens to us. Like, it's like... really, like, and she'll text us. It makes me happy.
I like that everyone, P.S., thank you for all of the kind words about our last episode. Because I was like, oh man, this one is not going to go well. We are unhinged.
We were like, oh.
And it was really funny. I actually really enjoyed it. I was listening to it. I don't normally listen to the full thing because why would I do that?
Yeah.
But because, listening to your own voice is the worst. But I was listening and laughing so hard.
Yeah. And honestly, I get so excited when I hear everybody else loving it too. And then I'm like, okay, this is it.
It makes me feel good. Yeah, it gives me the ego boost that I need to get through my day.
Exactly.
Because normally I'm just living in a hole of self-loathing.
Hence, I've been here for an hour and I'm knocked out. I literally walked in and I was like, fine. I saw your face. I was like,
yeah,
get it all out.
So normally we don't see each other for a really long time. We just went on a mom date to Chuck E. Cheese.
Daiso, Chuck E. Cheese.
Yeah, we were like,
little Five Below
mom's night while Faye is at a birthday party at Chuck E. Cheese, and then everything closed, so we ended up drinking beers at Chuck E. Cheese, trying to hide from her.
Oh, we got caught. So we were there for like 5-ish minutes.
We closed out Chuck E. Cheese.
We did. They were like, you don't have to go home, but you need to get the hell out of here. I was like, oh, this is like a new moment. This is like a new when you're having
trying to say a new
beers. No.
Oh.
No.
I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, I did too. That's why I'm like,
also
absolutely
Chad.
not.
So my brother Chad and his girlfriend Alexis got engaged. And so then they FaceTimed us to be like, look, we're so excited. Meanwhile, there's like a Chucky head behind us being like, come on,
dancing.
Chuck E. Cheese.
Meanwhile, Chucky went live.
Yeah. Chucky was like maybe a teen who maybe just had his first heartbreak. He looked real sad.
I know. Literally, he walked out. He was like, and then the kids. I think the kids made him pull it together, but no.
I don't know. Did they? Or was he just like, I'm almost done?
He's just going through the motions.
Just one more Chuck E. Cheese dance.
One more live moment. And honestly, I felt bad because he walked out and no kids were there.
I know, we made Faye go.
And I was like, wait a minute. What if he was okay with not having to do it again? What if he
had to continue to do it even though there was no kids there? What if there's no kids there at all and he still was required by his job?
So then I feel better, actually. Okay, so there's that. Yeah, I was like, he probably what if he walked out and felt relief that no kids were out there and maybe he had just had to do a lap and go back. But you're right. What if he was required?
Yeah.
So the kids turned it up for him.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then he's like, this is the last one. Might as well go out for these 10-year-olds.
Yeah. Pop off.
I know.
10-year-olds and Dippin' Dots.
Okay. So this one, there's a trigger warning for suicide.
Damn.
I know.
I don't love that. But,
Also death. But that's par for the course at this point.
Yeah, I feel like that's natural. Yeah.
So on October, look, I'm just like getting into it.
Yeah,
because we're running out of time. But that's not your fault, listener. It is mine. So on October 8th, 2009, a 911 call was placed at the Angel Valley Spiritual Retreat Center in Sedona, Arizona. When emergency personnel arrived on the scene, I know I'm struggling.
Straight out the gate.
When emergency personnel arrived on the scene, what they found was pure chaos. Outside of a large, heavily tarped dome, which was functioning like a makeshift sweat lodge, people were crying, convulsing, screaming, "I don't want to die." One man was covered in burns all over his arms. People were unconscious. Others were performing CPR. A good amount of them, women included, had freshly shaved heads. And so 18 people were taken to the hospital.
Is it like an ayahuasca gone bad?
We'll see.
Okay.
18 people were taken to the hospital for dehydration, kidney failure, and heat exhaustion. 3 non-responsive guests were airlifted before being pronounced dead on arrival.
Oh my God. Something went way bad.
So police and paramedics, they were like, we don't know what's happening, but they thought, is this a mass suicide or a cult ritual gone wrong because of like the shaved heads? And they were just like not quite sure. A lot of the people that were inside of the dome were doctors or nurses.
Oh my God.
So they were like, if this is a sweat lodge and it's too hot, you should have known what
educated
the body could handle and have left. However, you're still
here,
unconscious. You're still vomiting. It's like a mess. So they were like, what? They must have been there willingly and like trying to, self-harm.
Yeah.
Because otherwise, why?
It doesn't make sense otherwise.
Yeah, it doesn't make sense.
Because people who have the knowledge, the medical knowledge to be like, alert, alert, did not react appropriately.
And so the guests at the Angel Valley Retreat Center were all taking part in a spiritual warrior retreat hosted by James Arthur Ray. He is an Oprah-backed new age motivational speaker who's featured in the 2006 film The Secret. Do you remember The Secret? You don't? It's like, it looks like a old manuscript and it's got like this seal and it's like The Secret.
Oh,
written
I
in
can
light.
see it. I can see it.
Yeah, you
okay,
if you
I bet
know
you.
It, you'll see it. But The Secret is a book and film by Rhonda Byrne based on the law of attraction principle. So the idea is you put out good thoughts in the world, good things will come to you. And which
manifest that shit.
Yeah, manifesting energy, right? That's like I do believe in that.
I do too.
However, The Secret was more like, if you want a Ferrari, put out that energy in the world. Eventually, you will get a Ferrari.
Wow. Okay.
It was like
not the manifesting I'm thinking, but yeah.
No. It's like a lot of it had to do. It's like this meeting of this like kind of like self-help, like self-improvement, like a spiritual situation with like a monetary, like this mirroring of the two.
Yeah.
And so I feel like none of that what I made just
no, I got you.
Made no sense. But I do want to say that like while I believe in this like idea of manifestation and this like if you put good out in the world, it will come back to you. I think that in this space, it's like comes from a very privileged place because not everyone can afford to have that. No one, like the people that it happens to, and the people are like, oh my God, I put out that I'm going to get my dream job, and then I got my dream job after like 5 months of waiting around. Like that's not something that everyone can afford, right?
No.
So I do want to acknowledge that part of The Secret, and I don't want to just everyone to think I'm shit talking it because I do think that there's validity to some aspects of it, but I remember reading The Secret and almost immediately being like, fuck this.
Yeah, like you're not buying in on all of this shit.
No.
But you're like
I buy into it to some extent. And I'm like, no, okay.
Yeah.
It seems like you were rich and you already knew the right people in order to make your shit happen. So I'm not really buying into
Which isn't realistic
for
the majority.
So when The Secret came out, Ray blew up. And he did a 2-part episode of Oprah, Larry King, The Today Show. He was on The Tom Green Show. Remember The Tom Green Show? Yes.
I forgot about him.
Read that and then fixated on like, what is Tom Green doing?
Like, I must know more.
I need to know more.
Rabbit hole.
Stopped. I didn't go much further beyond. What is he up to?
I know.
I'm not going to look into it.
Yeah, but
so up until this point, he was struggling to launch his motivational speaking career. He launched his speaking business in 1992. He was mostly hired as a keynote speaker for Herbalife and Amway events. So he did like a lot of MLM like conferences, just trying to like boost up sellers' confidences. Yeah. But for the most part, he taught seminars called like The Science of Success and like Success for You. So he promoted a lot of his business acumen and sales experience. And despite his business acumen, he was using his personal credit cards to pay what few employees he did have. And after the tech crash in 2000, he was almost wiped out completely because he lost all of his MLM speaking events. Mm-hmm. That was a mouthful.
Yeah, it was, but I gotcha.
Yeah. So Ray claimed, I'm getting to a part where
you just braced yourself. I'm like, now I must know.
No, it's like not even that serious.
Okay.
So, but it is. We talked about this on our mom's night at Chuck E. Cheese. Okay, so Ray claimed at this point he took a self-imposed exile from his wealth. Which, okay, you were using credit cards to pay your employees. I don't know what wealth.
How much wealth are we?
Yes. So he took a self-imposed exile from his wealth and sought out, and this is a quote, a wise kahuna in Hawaii.
What? A wise kahuna.
A wise kahuna in Hawaii, where he then was initiated into huna, which is supposedly a Hawaiian religion. It is not a Hawaiian religion.
Oh, I do
what it
remember.
Is actually just like new age shit, but with like Hawaiian, like I can't even like describe how like
Mm-hmm.
So like
I just wrote down Huna is Boona.
Huna is Boona. Boona. So like they have like different levels of consciousness that I think it was like Lono, Kane, and like something thinking that these were like spiritual spiritual aspects, but they're actually like actual names of like gods that have nothing to do. So it's just like basically like someone took a new age religion, slapped some Hawaiian ideology on it, and was like, this is an ancient Hawaiian tradition. Meanwhile,
and just like made all of this shit up essentially.
Meanwhile, the guy who created it was like, Hawaiians are I can't even say it, like a lesser race, like an inferior race. Their brains aren't as big as like the white man. And so it was just like a complete, so anyway, so this man thought, I'm going to get initiated into this religion.
All wrong.
I know. I have to say I was very triggered.
So much wrong.
I literally cried. I'm pretty tough. But I don't know why. I was like really, really triggered by. I've never.
Well, you're passionate about your people. You're passionate about everything that everything they've experienced, and
I don't know. It was a mess. Anyway, so this guy seeks out a wise kahuna in this fake ass colonizer religion, and then goes to Peru and is initiated into these 3 different branches of like shamanism. Which turns out when someone looked into it was like a tourist thing where they're like, come on this like 5-day retreat and at the end you'll get like, and it was like a tourist trap basically.
Yeah.
So a few months later he returns. He's interviewed by Rhonda Byrne for a film project she was doing, which ultimately became The Secret. And he wasn't compensated for The Secret, but the press he got was like insane. So he does Oprah. He's everywhere, just everywhere.
Yeah.
There was even talk that Oprah, because it was around the time that Oprah was starting her own network. And so there was rumors that he was going to get his own show on her network.
Oh, shit.
Obviously, that doesn't come to fruition.
Yeah.
So in 2008, he publishes this book called Harmonic Wealth, and it becomes a bestseller. And it seems that like his previous struggles in business proved to be a selling point where he was like, I struggled and then I manifested.
It like is like this, proof of the pudding.
Yeah. And so that year, Fortune magazine called him, and this is a quote, the next big thing in a highly competitive world of motivational gurus offering a frothy concoction of spiritual wisdom, life lessons, and get-rich advice carefully attuned to today's fragile zeitgeist. Because this is 2008, it's like it's a recession era.
Recession. Everybody's losing their homes.
Everybody's losing
it's like
it, and
the
they're
doom
like,
and gloom is real.
Shit is crazy
Right.
in 2008.
Right.
So this just happens to be a time where everyone is thinking of a shift, right?
Mm-hmm.
How I've lost my job. How can I get back in a way that works?
Crazy, because this is the vulnerable population, right? Everybody's going through this like turmoil, and then they see somebody who seemingly has answers to like reinvent themselves or
remarket themselves or manifest. Like, you've just lost everything. Why don't you do this? And one of his like things was like, you put energy into what you love, and then that will manifest in a way that is good.
Ferraris.
Correct.
Just kidding.
Maybe a Ferrari. I don't know. And that, like, in order to do it, you gotta put it all out there, which is actually like a yoga philosophy, right? It's kind of like part of the Bhagavad Gita. Like, you put everything into it, you let go of the fruits of your labors, and eventually what will come will come.
Right.
So that's whatever. Fine. That is not what I have so much issue with. It's what happens later. So Kirby Brown was a follower of Ray. She was a free spirit and kind of just like went wherever she needed to go. She drove limos in Manhattan. She managed a ceramic studio, was a server in Tahoe. She moved to Cabo, like hobnobbed with Fortune.
Oh my God, what hasn't she done? She's like lived a million lifetimes.
Going all over the place.
Yeah.
Had a lot of like odd jobs.
Right.
Like,
goes where the wind blows her.
Same girl. And at 37, she was feeling kind of like stuck. And she hears Oprah raving about The Secret, and she takes notice.
Yeah.
So she finds James Arthur Ray and takes his free 2-hour introductory seminar. And he was selling kind of his mantra, energy flows where attention goes. And to be successful, you have to do that play full on, is what he called it, is go full out. Eventually, things will come. So then she signs up for a weekend workshop with a guided meditation, self-hypnosis session, and like these confidence-boosting exercises. And she invites her mom to go with her to one in San Diego. And her mom, Jenny, goes. And she's like, okay, sure. Because she was like such a believer. She was like, I want everyone to benefit from what I see as the path of being spiritually and financially rich. And I want my family to be a part of that.
Right.
So her mom goes and immediately is like, Her mom spent most of her career counseling teens. And so she knew a lot of the psychological philosophies and premises that he was sprouting. And she was like, okay, like, it's kind of this repackaged version of all of this psychological advice with a little bit of like business 101 added in. Not a big deal.
She went in objective, it sounds like.
Yeah.
Hey, you know what? Same. I had to pivot.
You've not even?
I'm still working on my better buzz, but I'm making choices are being made right in this moment.
So
who are you? Are you on your second one?
I'm on my third. I had one when I was out there with Tanya.
Love.
I know. So Jenny immediately is like, I don't really know, because she's a little bit disturbed when James Ray is going around and he's like asking them to tell secrets. And she's like, or like give testimonials. And the testimonials, Jenny, she was like, this doesn't feel like an appropriate place for healing for these kinds of wounds.
Yeah.
And the subject matter brought up was really heavy, and it just like didn't sit well with her.
Yeah, and I feel like it doesn't,
because they're sharing and then he's moving on to the next person. So it's like, where's this going?
Right.
And
he's asking people to like delve out these like really deep personal things.
Yeah.
And it's I don't know how it matches.
She, in a lot of her interviews, she was like, situations like this, you would build up to these sort of things and you would have kind of conversation, and it just didn't seem like, something just was off.
Right.
And so in August of 2009, Kirby signs up for Ray's spiritual warrior program using her entire life savings, which was about $10,000. According to a few close friends, she started to have second thoughts, but the trip was non-refundable. He had like a no refund policy. Damn. And the spiritual warrior retreat was wild, like right from the get-go. At one point during the retreat, attendees were encouraged to shave their heads. One by one, most followed suit to a cheering crowd. Like, they were all supporting each other, which is like so great.
What?
So great. I mean,
I guess.
Right? So, and if they didn't want to shave their heads, they were asked to journal about what their hang up was about why they wouldn't. And are you attached to your beauty in a way that is holding you back from being able to play full on and be fully present?
Okay.
So this was like very early in the trip.
Yeah.
So you can see how if someone was like, oh, you don't want to shave your head, then there's something wrong with you.
Right.
There's something wrong with your mindset. You're attached to the physical world. You're not. So then they were asked to journal on it. A lot of people ended up changing their minds and actually shaving their heads, which there's nothing wrong with shaving your head.
There is absolutely nothing wrong with shaving your head. There's a lot of red flags to be seen when it's like you're being pressured into doing something you're not fully into, and then being painted as somebody who's like somehow
not fully participating.
Right, exactly, because you choose. Because in that moment you're not fully convinced that it's the right decision to make, so there's something wrong with you.
Yeah, like you are less like a lesser evolved person,
right? Because
you decided that this isn't something that works for you.
That's crazy.
So
shaved heads, honestly, are beautiful. Like, if that's what you want. But I don't like anybody being pressured.
Feeling pressured or guilted into it. Or like they're less than for not doing it. Whatever. Yeah. Then they all played this game called the Samurai Game, which is a role-playing simulation game that helps players to like kind of step into their leadership roles and do team building skills. But in James Ray's version, he comes out in a white robe and he goes, I am God. And then will like kill people that he deems are not playing full on. He's just like, you're dead, drop down. And then they have to lay there for hours while everyone plays the game.
That's not funny. It's funny to imagine, though.
One lady said that she was like asking questions like, oh, hey, like blah, blah, blah. And he was like, dead. Die.
Oh, my God.
And so then she was like, she missed lunch. She wasn't able to go to lunch. Because she had to sit there. Yeah.
She was just a dead lady.
She was just a dead lady that was not invited anymore.
No.
So then he is like, they played so hard, but really, everyone needs to die in order to be reborn. So symbolically, he wanted to have them like have a symbolic death. So he has them mime slitting their own throats, which is very triggering and pretty yuck. It's yuck.
Yeah. You're essentially like there's so much like I won't even do it. Like like just to like protect, like it's to physically do something like that, and even in like a pretend way, is like does something.
Well, especially in a place where you're at, where you're looking for the self-improvement, you're looking for,
and then you're like fake killing yourself.
Yeah, it just feels weird and not conducive, right? So then after this, they are all led out to the desert where they are told they're going on a vision quest. This is not a vision quest. So everyone knows. This is not a vision quest. So they said that they are being led on one, though. So for 36 hours, they are left outside in the Sedona desert with no food, water, or shelter. And they're asked in the desert. They're asked to go out and gather stones to make a circle, and then they're not supposed to leave their circle of stones, and they're just supposed to journal about their feelings. And people were like, I was like losing touch with reality. I was talking to like I was talking to ants.
Yeah,
ants were my friends.
Yeah,
like
it's like straight up not the same. But
holes. Oh no.
I was thinking of. I mean, maybe I haven't seen it, but I was thinking. What's that when my friend Tom Hanks goes out?
Castaway.
Yeah.
Your best friend Tom Hanks?
I love him so much. He has no idea who I am, but I just love him so much and everything he does. Everything.
I was watching Elvis, and Faye came in and she was like, is that Woody? He's got this like fake, he's got this like a lot of prosthetics on, but you just can't unhear, because it's like kind of Woody, a Southern, like a Alabama-y accent. You can't unhear Woody. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And she was like, is that him?
Also, we need to acknowledge how really good Faye is at recognizing people in different movies or in different roles.
We talk about it a lot because I love that.
Yeah, it's fun.
There's a documentary called I Know That Voice. Have you heard it?
No.
The guy who plays like Jake from Adventure Time, and like there's so many other things that he does that I can't think of. He plays Bender in Futurama. You know his voice.
Oh yeah. I know who that is.
He directed a documentary about all of the people that like and their voiceover work.
Yeah, it's freaking fun,
and it's really fun because it's got like the guy that plays like Goofy, the guy that plays like Winnie the Pooh, who also plays Tigger, who also plays like all of these other voices. So that's like our favorite.
It's like a fun thing. Yeah. Wait. I know this. I know this voice.
Sometimes I'm usually sometimes now she's better at hearing it than I am.
I could, yeah.
Where usually I'm the one that's like, guess who that is?
Yeah. No, I love doing that with Aldrich. Like, we'll sit there and we'll be watching something and I'm like, who is he from? Or, who do I see? And he'll like, we'll do it together. It's fun.
Yeah.
I love it.
So.
Sorry.
Tangent. Where was I going?
Tangent.
They were on Tom Cruise. Oh, yeah. Tom Cruise.
Tom Hanks.
What? My God.
Not the same, but I get it.
Not the same. Okay, so then they're let out to the desert. They go on their vision quest for 36 hours, right? That's a long ass time. Also, low key, if I was paying almost $10,000 for this retreat and I'm outside not being fed.
For 36 hours.
What the fuck?
Absolutely not. No.
Yeah, fuck no.
0% chance.
No. What am I paying for?
Nothing.
Yeah. So anyway, at the end of the vision quest, they're served a vegetarian breakfast. Totally fine, right? Totally great. But then,
if you're a vegetarian,
right? But then Ray explains that vegetarians are not very grounded because of the lack of protein. And he said, quote, however, I don't want you grounded here. I want you off balance. I want you out of your traditional patterns, which is not fine and like not great because you're just basically fucking starving them. Also saving yourself a buck by not buying some like protein for them.
Right. And like
and you
brainwashing them
for days.
Yeah. And
they're
brainwashing them to being like, this is the good thing. Like, this is this is like good for you.
Right. So he feeds them this vegetarian meal. Then they go straight to the sweat lodge. And so I do want, okay, back up. They go to this, I like don't even want to call it a sweat lodge, but it is a wooden framed dome covered in heavy tarps.
Like a yurt.
Kinda. And about 50 of them filed in. It was made for about 75 people. Inside there's 2 rings filled with heated stones and it's completely dark. There's like no oxygen in there. And before they enter, he says, you're not going to die. You might think you are, but you're not going to.
Like,
you might pass out.
When your body tells you, alert, alert. And like, when he's like, ignore your body, essentially. Ignore your gut instincts. Ignore like.
You're going to be fine. You think you're going to die. You're not going to die.
That's an insane amount of trust that somebody is putting in.
Right?
I don't even know if I could.
I
trust
probably would.
Like that.
This is, I think, why this one bothers me so much is because it doesn't seem... It seems like, because I love a good endurance challenge.
You sure do, actually.
I do.
I know that about
I like
you.
pushing myself to be like, oh, you don't think I can do this? Fuck you, I can't.
Watch this.
I'll
plank for an hour.
You want me to plank for an hour? You want me to be in this 200-degree room for 45 minutes? You better
say
Levi will do it.
Say less.
So I would be dead.
Yeah, you would. I would be like, I would be flailing. Yeah. I would be running. I don't know.
So traditionally, and traditions vary across like different like tribes, but traditionally tribal elders, they vet sweat lodge leaders for years before they're allowed to conduct any kind of ceremony.
Because it's so dangerous.
Yes, and because the process covers like a lot of spiritual demands, but also like safety concerns.
Yeah.
And so high temperatures can impair judgment for both the participants and the leaders. So great care is taken to take breaks, make sure everyone is mentally like good. And the ceremony is usually a really intimate communal experience, usually involving a meditation, a leader's spiritual guidance, and one round might consist of like 15 to 40 minutes inside a room that's maybe like 150 to 180. And then followed followed by a cool down. So like 15 minutes. Followed by a cool down is doable.
Perhaps. Okay.
And then the ceremony might involve 2 to 3 rounds. This was made for 75 people to do 8 rounds at 20 minutes with they had no thermometer. They had no idea how hot
it was, because a room can be set to a certain temperature, but with that many people in there, it needs to be monitored. And then
soaking up the oxygen. And then what was happening was they were taking buckets of water and throwing it on the stones, where normally you would ladle to control the humidity. But we all know, well, if you practice hot yoga, you know, the more humid it is, the harder it is to breathe. And if you're at
that water is taking 200, place
if you're at
200
degrees and it's super humid, how are you breathing it?
No. But by the way, if you feel like you might die, don't worry, you're not.
Yeah. So he says that, and he just says the whole like you might die thing. And then he goes, but listen to your body. Anyone can leave, but if you're serious about a higher level of consciousness, then you'd complete the experience.
You would die. You would die. This is where you would.
No, yeah, this was me. This is me where I would actually literally not leave there.
Yeah.
Because I would be like, that's a guarantee.
Watch
okay.
that. Yeah.
Meanwhile, he also has no medical personnel.
Except for the people that are there, the doctors and nurses
people that are there
that are being told.
That are passed out.
Yeah.
The people that are passed out that are, And so.
That is so reckless.
It is very reckless. He said that they needed to surrender to the feeling of death to survive it. So that was like what their mindset was going in after having been starved, no water, no sleep, and exhausted.
Yeah. And then go into this here.
So
Death hut.
So Ray would ask for 100 stones every 20 minutes to be brought in. They'd dump hot water on him. Debbie Mercer, who was a woman who was hired to bring stones into the lodge, said that after the first round, about 12 of the 50 people left, and he encouraged them to return. She said that one woman was like hysterical. She was like, I can't go back in, but I'm disappointing James.
That would be me.
So his people pulled her up to bring her in, and she was like, absolutely not. She's not going back in.
Fuck no.
You can't bring her back in.
No.
Yeah. So then people start to lose consciousness. They have to be dragged out. People were screaming, I don't want to die. I don't want to die. And Ray would just be like, it's a good day to die.
Oh my God. Mm-hmm. What does he think he is doing? Do we know? Like, I know he's thinking that he's like.
He thinks everyone's going to be fine. It's going to be a transformational experience.
Okay. I didn't know if he was really like.
He's not he's not going out to kill people, but he's definitely going out to like prove a point. Mm-hmm. I don't think that I think that it was more of his ego, less of concern.
It was an ego. It was people. It was ego. It was him wanting to push people, but not knowing enough about the danger he was putting them in. Mm-hmm. And again, reckless.
Yeah. So Kirby Brown was one of the 3 that never made it out of the dome.
No!
Yeah. She was found along with a man named James Shore. He was a 40-year-old father of 3. He was a therapeutic medical practitioner and a drummer.
Christ.
Found right beside her holding her hand.
Oh my God.
Minutes later, he had dragged another woman out to safety before coming back in.
So he
dragged someone else out, came back in.
And came back in.
I think that he was maybe helping her and he's like, I can handle more. And then he couldn't.
Yeah. That is so fucking sad.
Yeah. And so when authorities showed up, they airlifted them. Both Kirby and James Shore were dead on arrival. Authorities tried to question Ray and they found a note on his door that said he was unavailable because he was in prayer and meditation. And when when he finally reached him, he was showering and eating. He was fully showered and eating dinner.
Yeah, eating protein.
He just was like out of there. And then 9 days later, Liz Newman, one of his longtime followers, she had spent like over $100,000 going to his seminars.
Just following him.
She had fallen into a coma following the sweat lodge and died of organ failure later. He was at another seminar when it happened and got word on stage and he showed no emotion. And then he played Black Eyed Peas and said, you need to shake loose the sadness. Let's move past this.
Are you fucking serious?
I know for a fact it was probably, I got a feeling, ooh, that tonight's gonna be a good night. Yeah. Can you believe that?
No.
What the fuck?
Oh, that is so sad. That is so sad. That little breakout song, that was fun. Just for a second, if I'm being honest.
Did it shake out your sadness?
No. A little bit though, for a second, for like that minute.
So Rick Ross, not the rapper.
Oh. That's what I was like, boss. Or,
no, remember we had another episode where it was the same guy. Rick Allen Ross, not Rick Ross the rapper.
Not to be confused.
We've discussed him before. He said that Ray is using this thing called LGAT, which stands for Large Group Awareness Training. And it's where a single leader trains a large group in a particular worldview. And this type of leader sees themselves not as just an educator or a trainer, but as like an evangelist for a certain philosophy, which is like an end-all be-all for attendees. And so if something happens, it's not their fault. They're just not following the teachings to the letter.
Yeah. Hence why he has zero remorse. He has zero, like, he's not my problem.
Yeah. He says, I told them to listen to their bodies. They didn't do that. It was a freak accident. People tried to leave. He would say, you can do this. You're not a quitter.
He told them not to listen to their bodies.
Yeah. So he feels like he's absolved. And then when he had no medical staff, and then when he asked why he didn't have paramedics, he was like, why would I have paramedics for a meditation exercise?
Yeah, that's crazy. Well, you're fucking like cooking people.
That was crazy to him.
Yeah.
To have paramedics for a sweat lodge.
Which is why he's so fucking
and
reckless.
So on the surface, it seems like a tragedy. And if this is like a one-off situation, you're like, this is a really unfortunate freak accident where maybe he's learned a lesson now.
No, there's no remorse there. It's not a tragedy. It's not like some,
No, this isn't the first instance in which a sweat lodge has created an issue. And this isn't the first death at one of his seminars.
See, no, fuck him.
In 2005, oh, you'll find out.
Yeah, I was about to say, I want to find him. And
oh, you won't have to look far.
What? Does he live in?
No.
Does he live in?
No.
San Diego. What? Oh my God.
I know where his office is.
He has a running office right now?
Yeah.
Oh.
I know where it is. I'll bleep this out. It's over off like, you know where.
Oh my God.
Right
I know
exactly. Brothers.
Do we ride at dawn? I just want to drive by.
Yeah. Should we go?
Yeah.
Should we record it?
Oh my God. Yes. Yes. Oh my God. What is he doing? How is he not in jail?
We've not gotten to the end of the episode. I pushed too far ahead. I shouldn't have told you where he was. That was a reveal for later. That was our
little Easter egg.
That was our Dennis Green reveal for the. But no, he does live here.
I must know more.
I actually, after finding out that he lived here, had a little bit of like anxiety because I was like, oh God. Within all of like the yoga things, I'm like, oh, who knows?
Who knows? He's among us.
He's among us.
Jeez.
Yeah. So in 2005, so going back to the first sweat lodge situation, in 2005, a man named Dan, I don't know how to say his last name. He turned irrational. I'm not even going to try.
Can you spell it?
Pfankuch. Fanka? Sure. Daniel Pfankuch. Anyways, he turned irrational and violent after spending 4 hours in the dome. 4 hours.
That was
unregulated. Unregulated. So 4 hours.
In that hot of a dome?
His symptoms were consistent with like the confusion of heat stroke. Ray refused to call 911. He argued with the owner of the like place where he was holding it, was like, we have to call. And he was like, no, he's fine. He's fine. This is part of the process. And finally he was taken to get medical treatment and he straight up never recovered. He lost his job, his wife, his home, all as a result of the mental shift that happened afterward.
It's literally trauma.
Mm-hmm.
It's trauma.
Yeah. The Mercers who helped run the sweat lodge testified that they saw some crazy shit. Debbie said she saw one woman who couldn't remember her own name for 45 minutes after the ceremony.
Yeah.
Just like wandering around in a pink bathing suit. Like, I don't know.
Just has no idea. Has no like wherewithal of where she is. No like understanding. That is fucking crazy. And that doesn't, I can understand why that could be a permanent situation. Like, you'll never be the same.
Yeah. And then she also testified that when she told Ray in 2009 that he needed to call 911, he shrugged. And then later when she saw him on his phone, she thought, oh, he must have called for help. He's calling. Too. But his phone records indicate he never called. So he just was like,
He was just dilly-dallying. He was faking being on his phone?
No, he was probably on his phone with a lawyer.
God, what a fucking
Jen Barlow.
Oh. With her six lawyers.
7 lawyers.
7.
A few months earlier, he had held a 2-day seminar. This is like really gross.
Yeah, you can't get it out.
I can't. This one is really bad. So participants were instructed to pretend they were unhoused. So they had costumes where they would go and like pretend to be unhoused people in downtown San Diego.
That's disgusting.
46-year-old Colleen Conaway went missing from her group, and they were instructed to leave without her. They were like, I don't know where she is. Part of the exercise was they gave their driver's license and cell phones. They had nothing with them. So there was no way to get a hold of her. So 6 hours later, they finally called authorities. It turned out she had jumped from the 4th floor of the Horton Plaza Mall.
God.
And died. So she was a Jane Doe for most of that until they finally called and were like, oh, we know that person.
That is so fucking sad.
And one of the other participants had witnessed it, and he didn't know it was someone part of the group, but you know Horton Plaza.
Yeah,
it is like
it's big.
It's big and it's visual.
Yeah, yeah.
So I can just imagine that.
Ugh. The amount of like,
I know. Remember there used to be a Planet Hollywood in Horton Plaza?
I forgot about Horton Plaza until you just
or was it Fashion? Or was it Fashion Valley? Horton Plaza used to have. Didn't it have a Planet Hollywood?
I'm sure.
This
is
some trauma. This is some trauma for me. But when I was a kid, JTT was going to be signing things at Planet Hollywood, and it was on a school day, and I really, really wanted to go, and my mom was like, "No." Thanks, Cindy. Forever. Not letting me skip school to see JTT.
Honestly, that would have been I had many a JTT poster.
Same.
Not on my walls.
Ceiling.
On my ceiling. And I had a bunk bed and I was on the top. So I was like closer. Aaron was on the bottom bunk. I was on the top. Oh my God. That is so sad. Somebody literally jumped 4 stories down. Just because, not just because.
Well, I think,
but she had
I don't think that that's a place like that feels like for someone who's looking. I mean, what? This is in 2009.
I don't understand.
This is in 2009 where people are looking for some guidance. They're looking like this feels so extra rock bottom.
Exactly. So it's like lemon juice in the open wound. Like, why?
Why would you have them do this exercise?
What is it that they're going to get out of it? Exactly.
So Ray's trial lasted 4 months. The jury was not allowed to hear about the previous sweat lodge incidents or the death of Colleen Conaway.
Why? It's all related.
But
it's big
because
picture.
He wasn't prosecuted for those, how are they going to... It would taint the view of the jury on this one particular case. So he was found not guilty of manslaughter, but guilty on 3 counts of negligent homicide. He was... I think that like carried a sentence of up to 6 years, but... all of these people came and were like, he changed my life. He was so great.
Are you serious?
Yeah. So he ended up getting 2 years and only served 18 months.
And I bet you he's like, what do you mean I'm going in jail? Look at all these people I've helped. Like, yeah, this one went bad, but look at all these other people.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah. It was really yuck. So afterwards, he went right back to motivational speaking. And Kirby Brown's parents were like, fuck no.
I was just going to say, are people there showing up with pitchforks and being like, fuck this, don't get got by this guy?
No. They sued Ray for negligence, fraud, and wrongful death. They got a $3 million settlement they shared with the other victims' families. But the money was secondary to like trying to make sure shit like this doesn't happen again.
Yeah.
So Jenny and George Brown, they started Seek Safely, which is an organization aimed at holding the self-help industry accountable. So the practitioners there can sign a pledge to make sure that their followers are safe.
What a great idea.
Yes. And they have a lot of great resources. They have a book and a podcast, but I wanted to read from their site because they have a whole page of red flags.
Thank you.
So they have one for events, online participants, and print things. So like they have like before, like this is just an example. So before an event starts, if asked to sign a waiver without time to review the contents, being told it's just standard and being discouraged from asking questions. If there's a physical challenge as part of the program, but no information is offered about medical support in case of an accident.
Yep.
red flags.
Red fucking flags.
During the event, a highly packed schedule with little time to process information.
Yeah.
Red flag.
Red flag.
Short breaks that don't allow adequate time to get a meal, have snacks, or use the restroom, or properly hydrate. Red flag.
Red flag.
Locked door. Long hours. Breathing techniques or guided meditation is used that cause a sense of disorientation or confusion, which it's really easy to like get, especially with like things like with Bastrika breath, like the fast like hyperventilation.
Yeah.
That can cause like a lot of anxiety. And like if someone
Remember
is
when
guiding,
we did that at Breathe Degrees when we were doing the breathing yoga?
Yeah,
that shit fucked me up
so
in a good way, but I could see how it go wrong.
Are trained,
yeah,
and you're in a safe space.
Yeah, I could see.
Imagine doing that and then having to do a weird ass exercise.
Yeah, no. Imagine doing that amongst people who have no idea what the fuck they're doing.
Yeah.
And can't identify when it's gone wrong.
Yeah.
You know, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Because even just doing something like that, I was like, oh, this is giving me all kinds of a head
makes
change.
it kind of crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I will post this link in the show notes, and I encourage everyone to kind of go and look at it just for like your own information.
That is
because they have like before the event starts, during the event, atmosphere in the room, speakers' behavior, sales tactics. Online, they have like a lot of presentation, additional sales of products, programs repeatedly mentioned. Like they have all of this information to kind of and it's all free. So you just look at it and so you can look at it and then decide for yourself when you're looking at things.
It's just information to like, exactly. It just gives you a moment for pause, like to be like, okay, like, and again, every time like we have like these kind of conversations and, you know, we go into these types of stories, I'm like, there's so many red flags, but like, it's hard to see it when you're in a space where you're like, I just need help and I am so vulnerable. I'm just willing to take on whatever, you know, like I'm just desperate. So I will try things that I've never done before that I feel like might be.
Because you think you're going outside of your comfort zone.
Exactly.
You think that your comfort zone is what's holding
you back. And that
you
stuff
back.
is celebrated.
And you start to distrust your own intuition.
Exactly. But this is the first time that I've seen like somebody take a yuck situation and do something really cool with it. Like, this is cool. I
think it's really cool. And I think it's really important, especially because we're in this same kind of landscape as we were then, where after the pandemic with like, a lot of things are up in the air and things feel
a lot
weird,
of people are reinventing
and you're looking for
themselves and
a little bit deeper. And I think that it's really good to look at that.
Yeah.
So what should we call this one?
Well, I thought Huna is Buna, but there's just so much more. I don't know. Oh my God.
I know.
What should we call this one? I guess
I like Huna is Buna because I just fucking hate Huna.
I know. I'm like, it doesn't make any sense at all. And for some, like, is he white? He's white. I'm sure
Obviously.
He's white. I know. It was a silly question. It felt right when it came out of my mouth. But I'm like, what kind of white man goes and is like trying to create some sort of...
A white guy saying the word I sought out, or saying I sought out a wise kahuna feels like immediately...
Alert! Bullshit! It sounds like a bullshit. Yeah, Huna's Buna.
Huna is Buna.
Yeah. And fuck James Arthur Ray.
Yeah.
I must see picture.
Yeah, so he's definitely like doing stuff now. He's turned his thing. He's like, I think his like newest book was like freedom or like the path of redemption. Like he's turning his story into
more money that he's trying to make, but painting it differently.
Same.
He's watering it down essentially, but like
he's taking those deaths and exploiting them,
putting lipstick on a pig.
Yeah. So don't follow him. Look at that website, please.
Don't
follow him.
Don't follow him.
Look at that website. Look at Seek Safely for, and this I think goes for anybody. You can even look. They have like a whole page of like people who've already pledged. So if there's someone that you're like, oh, this is kind of like a self-help person that like I'm interested in, maybe you even look there to see if they've signed the pledge to make sure that like everybody's safe and that they're doing the right thing.
Yeah. I would do that for anybody who's like young. Like I think about my sister Anna and I'm like, I'm going to send her this information because, you know, she's just young trying to figure out what she wants to do, where she wants to be. Like, you know, she's just early 20s trying to figure out her path.
Yeah.
And when there could be so many options, and when you're in a space where you just feel like you're a little bit not completely
if you're overwhelmed,
lost.
but also if you have a community of people that are also buying into it. Sometimes that's how people get sucked in, is that your community is already kind of like into it and you don't want to be left behind.
Right.
So sometimes it's good to just kind of be like, hey guys, this is not
food
jiving.
for thought. Yeah.
Food for thought.
Food for thought.
So that is all for today. Thank you for listening. If you, well, I don't even know what to have. You follow us on Instagram at Spiritually Effed Podcast. What else do we have?
Let us know how you felt about this episode. I want to see people leaving comments on our posts and stuff. I say ours, they're Jenna's. She's the one who does all the. I'm here for a good time.
Oh yes, and also if you have questions, if you're like, I don't know if this is culty or if this is a scam, please, or if you have just like a really good story and you want to be featured on the podcast, DM us on Instagram, or you can email us at hello@spirituallyfucked. Because we want to hear from you and want to talk more about, we have a couple things coming down the pipeline, like questions people had that we're doing some research on, so we can help you figure out if it's fucked or not.
Yeah. Probably.
Is it fucked?
Is it fucked or not?
Yeah. Is it fucked or not? We can tell you.
We will let you know.
Our album is coming. Our album is dropping also.
I can't believe how much we've sang on this episode. Again, people.
I know, Kendra. I think Kendra was like, your accents on the Linda one.
Oh my God.
I can't stop.
It was so good. I wish, though, we got to start recording video of us because everybody needed to see the hand on the hip and the head tilt while you were, yes! Exactly. It just added so much value.
One of these days, we'll have a live episode where we're just at a bar and we just do this.
We'll just be at Chuck E. Cheese.
We'll be at Chuck E. Cheese.
Exactly.
If we record live from Chuck E. Cheese,
we would get kicked out by a mouse. That's what would happen.
No, the mouse wouldn't care because he's like 14 and hates his life. But
it would be the lady running the bar.
The lady running the bar who was selling us all the seltzers.
Yeah, the bar.
No, she said she was a good time.
Toy spot.
Yeah. I think she was the manager. She was having a good time.
Yeah,
we should do it at Local Roots on that back fire
the
pit.
backfire pit. Yes.
That'd be so fun.
That'd be a lot of fun. Okay.
All right. Message us if you want to come to Local Roots with us and watch us record. And
if you want to stop by this office off down the street from Local Roots.
And James Ray's office.
James
Arthur Ray's office.
We ride at dawn.
We ride at dawn if you want to go. Bring your toilet paper.
I'll bring actually eggs. No, can't. What if they get expensive again?
No, that's way too precious.
Yeah, too precious.
Way too precious for eggs. Toilet paper is also kind of like.
I know. Oh my God.
I'm traumatized.
Let's just
I'm a toilet paper hoarder now.
Receipt paper. We'll take our CVS receipts in hand.
Well,
ready to go.
All right. Thank you for listening.
Thank you. Bye.